Mr. Seele, first of all, let me thank you for the acceptance of our invitation to become a member of the Board of Trustees of the Global Energy Association.
It's an honor.
So let's start with the conversation about energy transition. The whole world is going through energy transition right now. In terms of that, what is OMV's strategy? Is the company considering to continue its strategy in developing gas and oil technologies, or it's going to completely transform itself to a very different kind of energy company like BP and Total did?
Well, first of all, I think when we talk about fighting against climate change, everybody has to contribute to reduce CO2 emissions. I think that's the first step. When we talk about transformation, you're absolutely right that the vast majority of companies in our oil and gas industry is transforming towards renewable energies. OMV has decided not to transform towards a power company. We are transforming into a chemical company because we have discussed it that we have been driven by competitive advantages, and chemistry is in the DNA of OMV. And the headline is that we don't want to burn oil and gas anymore, so use it as an energy fuel, that we would like to use it as a feedstock for the chemical value chain. Because whatever you see around here, and everything is based on oil. So the products of our daily life, our living standard, is based on oil products and on natural gas products. So that's why other companies are investing to produce power, whereas OMV is investing into producing the materials to build wind farms and solar panels, which also comes with less investments into oil and gas production, which is a major trend in our industry.
Okay, and talking about renewables, the last decade have been a period of rapid growth of wind and solar energy, especially in the European Union. So in your opinion, what other types of renewables can get such explosive growth?
Well, I think it depends what region you are talking about. It makes sense that especially in the Middle East, where the sun is shining much more than here in Europe, you're investing into photovoltaic capacities. Whereas we do have very strong winds here in Europe. You know, I was born at the North Sea coast. You really have strong winds, and therefore I think you should invest into wind farms. That's what we are doing. But if you're producing the renewable power offshore, you also have to invest into the necessary infrastructure, because the consumption is not at the coastline, the consumption is more down in the south, for example in Germany. Therefore, we need to also invest more and more into infrastructure to have the necessary network available for the renewable power we are producing more offshore.
Another topic which has everybody been talking about these days, a lot of experts believe that hydrogen will be the key element of the future energy systems. So does OMV have plans to cooperate and to work together with Russian companies to develop hydrogen technologies? And what do you think, what future does this partnership will have in global and European markets?
Well, we do have a very strong interest to cooperate with our friends in Russia, investing into especially blue hydrogen, which means that we are producing hydrogen out of natural gas, and that we are going to use CCS technology to have CO2-free hydrogen in our pipeline. I think that this is the cheapest and most efficient way in the short and mid-term to prepare the hydrogen market for bigger volumes to be produced by any other producer, whatever technology we are going to apply. I'm very much criticizing that the European Union, the Commission, is so much focusing only on green hydrogen. I agree that renewables need to have a kind of an hydrogen storage, because overcapacities in times when the sun is shining very intensively and the wind is blowing very hard, we can use that hydrogen. On the other hand, we also have to invest into infrastructure. We also have to invest to prepare the markets. I don't see the European automotive industry moving heavily short and mid-term into hydrogen mobility. They prepare it, and I can understand, because they only want to get rid of CO2, and it's very easy to go on electromobility. And if you see what the fuel cell is doing, it produces electricity out of hydrogen. And therefore, I think only in trucks and ships we see a bigger potential for hydrogen. But we have to work together with the big producers to prepare the markets. And I think that Russia is the first address to cooperate, especially in blue hydrogen production.
Mr. Seele, during your term as head of OMV, the company significantly increased its purchases of gas from Gazprom. What's the future of this partnership?
Well, the future is defined by our long-term contracts, and I think Austria is importing 50% nearly of the annual gas demand for the market from Russia. I think we have set a long-term partnership and relationship between Gazprom and OMV. Now it's up to the OMV board to decide how they would like to further develop the partnership.
Mr. Seele, what scientific developments in energy will be the most in demand over the next 5 to 10 years? What should we invest in right now? How do you think?
Well, I think we have to invest into a portfolio. I really have to say we have to be very carefully reducing so heavily our investments in oil and gas. There are many scenarios which I have seen that we are going to see a shortage of oil and gas for the market, because the market is not changing so quickly like our investment behavior. I only can advise that we should sail into the world of renewables. I think this is more or less politically determined, and we have to follow the regulatory framework. And I think these are the main investments. And you should invest especially into R&D when we talk about hydrogen of the future.
So hydrogen is the source of the future?
Of course, but it's a very long-term future. I don't see that hydrogen really makes a big story until 2030. It has a huge impact as we speak about industrial application. I think all the hydrogen needed for the processes in the industry is a very big potential in the mid and long term. But as we speak about mobility, it will take for longer, especially in Europe.
So after everything we have discussed today, in your opinion, what is the energy source of the future if not hydrogen?
Well, I think it is hydrogen. But it's a long term. I think the energy of the future is the electron, because we talk about energy. And when we talk about the electron, in the first instance, we are talking about renewable energy. But I think renewable energy, and this is what I have learned from all the scientists, renewable energy can't make it alone. You need to have a partner. And it's up to the different governments to decide what kind of combination they would like to go to. Some countries decide that natural gas is the partner because of the flexibility of CCGT plants, and others are going for nuclear energy. Others might go for hydrogen. So it's up to the different governments to decide what kind of combination they are going to take, because you need to have a reliable base load energy to guarantee the level of standard of security of supply you were used to. Because everybody in the household wants to switch on the light, and the light should be there. If you tell them, well, the wind is not blowing, you don't have any energy in your house, and your fridge is not working, then it's ending up in a disaster. So therefore, I think you're well advised to combine renewables with energies with a very good reliable partner, baseload energy.
Thank you very much for the conversation. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it as much as you did.